Getting a free trip to New York was a good enough reason to go anyway.
Can you remember the first time you met Mark?
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, it was about 6 or 7, I think it was 6.5 years ago.
And what kind of occasion was
Well,
it?
I was in Melbourne, where I grew up, and I was recording music. I was signed to an indie label down there, and I was making demos, basically trying to get a big record deal. You know what I mean? Like trying to get signed by a major record company. And I think, you know, I made this CD, and I was sending it around to all the honchos at all the record companies, and one of them gave that CD to Mark, because at the time he was a DJ in New York. He wasn't really producing that much. He'd done a bit of work on Nika Costa's album with Justin Stanley, and that was pretty much it. And he was really just well known in New York as a DJ, hip hop DJ. So yeah, he gave me a call out of the blue. He heard this CD that I made, and he gave me a call out of the blue. He said, "Dan, like, I know you don't know me, Google me or something, but I'm a DJ, but I love what you're doing, and I produce a little bit. You should come to New York, and we should hang out." And at that point, I was like...
Was it an immediate yes, let's do that? Or?
It was kind of like, I mean, I had no real other... I mean, I kind of had, you know, an offer from a record company at the time, and it was this sort of... It was kind of this decision that I had to kind of make, like, do I sign this deal or do I go and check this out? I'd never left the country though. I was like, you know, I was 20 years old, I never left Melbourne, never left Australia. So, you know, getting a free trip to New York was a good enough reason to go anyway, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I got on a plane and I went over there, spent about 4 or 5 days, and we hung out in the studio, you know, went record shopping, sort of spent a lot of time in the studio making music, and we just kind of clicked. And I think that it was, you know, probably at that point, you know, Mark was trying to do more production. You know, he was trying to build up as a producer, and probably you know, my project probably for him was something he could sink his teeth into and hone his sound, and it was like a project for him to work on. And for me, I was really looking for a producer who understood what I wanted to do and where I was coming from. And so I think through that, you know, we just kept in touch. Like, I would come to New York every couple of weeks, every couple of months. I'd be in Melbourne for a bit. He came down to Melbourne, and we just kept working together. Then he started a label, Alito Records, and then I jumped on the label with him, you know, and that was kind of, you know, it was me and Rhymefest, and Saigon was on the label for a second, and now it's the Rumble Strips and Wale and all them. So I guess it was just sort of, it was a long process, but I think a lot of that was because I was back in Melbourne a lot working on other stuff, and I produced a hip hop album down there for a guy called Phrase at the time. That took like 6 months out, you know. And I was just working all the time on different stuff, but all the while kind of trying to make this album that never really got finished, you know what I mean? And so there's hundreds of songs sitting there that I've never released. But yeah, I finally kind of, you know, I moved to New York about 3 years ago, and that was when, and then we sort of started working on Mark Ronson's, Mark was working on his album. I did Stop Me with him, and then we toured for a while, and then I came back and was just like, right, I gotta make this album, I gotta finish it, I gotta, you know.
Yeah, all those hundreds of unfinished songs, do you keep them for yourself somewhere, or what?
I haven't listened to a lot of them in a while. They're all kind of scattered around the world on hard drives somewhere. I gotta dig them all up and listen to them. I mean, they're all probably kind of, you know, they're relatively, you know, they're all finished songs, I guess. It was just that, you know, I guess, you know, I'll probably have a listen to them one day. Who knows, they might turn up on future albums in the future, who knows.